Hello, and welcome to Hello English. We're so glad you're joining us to practice your listening skills today.
It's great to be here.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Hollow English, where we learn English slowly, naturally, and comfortably together.
Hello, my friends, and thank you so much for joining us today because we are really happy that you are here with us again.
My name is Ryan, and I love helping English learners feel more confident while speaking simple and natural English every day.
And I'm Emma, and I'm very excited because today's topic is fun, modern, useful, and honestly something many people are curious about right now.
Yes, that's true, Emma, because today we are talking about 50 English phrases to use with ChatGPT, and I think this topic will help many listeners practice English in a very easy way.
Absolutely, because many people use ChatGPT every day now, but sometimes they do not know what to say or how to ask questions naturally in English.
Exactly. And the good news is that you do not need perfect English to use ChatGPT, because simple and clear sentences work very well.
And today we will practice many useful phrases together slowly, naturally, and step by step, so you can listen comfortably while relaxing or doing something at home.
Maybe you are cooking dinner right now, or driving somewhere, or drinking coffee. And if you are, we hope this conversation makes your day feel calmer and more enjoyable.
Yes, and please remember that learning English does not need to feel stressful, because small practice every day can create very big improvement over time.
That is so true, Emma. And before we begin, we want to welcome all the new listeners who recently joined the Hollow English family.
Hello and welcome everyone, and please make yourself comfortable, because today will feel more like a friendly conversation than an English lesson.
And if you enjoy slow and easy English conversations like this one, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment below.
Yes, because even a small comment in English can help you practice, and honestly, your comments always make us smile so much.
Sometimes people write very short comments like, "Hello from Brazil," or "I'm learning every day." And honestly, those little messages feel really special to us.
They really do, Ryan, because it feels like we are building a warm international learning community together, one conversation at a time.
Exactly. And today, we will learn many useful phrases that you can actually type into ChatGPT in real life.
Not difficult textbook English.
Not formal business English.
Just real and useful English that normal people use every day.
And we will also explain the meaning slowly so even beginner learners can follow comfortably.
All right, Ryan, are you ready to start our first phrase?
I'm ready, Emma. And listeners, let's begin together.
Okay, so imagine that you open ChatGPT for the first time, and you feel a little nervous because you do not know what to write.
That happens to many people, Emma, because starting is often the hardest part.
Exactly. So what is a very easy first phrase people can use?
A perfect first phrase is, "Can you help me practice English?"
Oh, that sounds very simple and friendly.
Yes, and simple is good because ChatGPT understands clear and direct sentences very well.
Let's repeat it slowly together.
Can you help me practice English?
Can you help me practice English?
Very nice. And you can use this phrase anytime because it immediately tells ChatGPT what you want.
And I think this sentence also feels polite and comfortable because you're asking for help kindly.
Exactly, Emma. And kindness matters even when talking to AI because polite English is good practice for real conversations too.
That is actually a very good point.
Here is another useful phrase.
Okay, I'm listening.
Please speak slowly and use simple English.
Oh, wow, that is very useful for beginners.
It really is, because sometimes English learners feel shy when conversations become too fast or difficult.
Yes, I remember when I learned another language, and I always felt happy when people spoke slowly with me.
Exactly, because slow English gives your brain more time to understand.
Let's repeat the phrase together.
Please speak slowly and use simple English.
Please speak slowly and use simple English.
Perfect. And honestly, I think many listeners need this reminder because simple English is not bad English.
That is completely true, Ryan, because simple English is powerful, clear, and useful in daily life.
All right, Ryan, what is phrase number 3?
The third phrase is, can you correct my grammar?
Ah, that one is very important.
Yes, because many English learners want feedback, but do not always have someone to practice with.
And ChatGPT can help correct mistakes gently.
Exactly, and that helps learners improve little by little.
Can you give an example?
Of course, Ryan, because maybe you write something like, yesterday I go to market, and then ChatGPT can help correct it.
And the correct sentence would be, yesterday I went to the market.
Exactly.
That actually feels very useful and practical.
Yes, because learning becomes easier when you practice with your own real sentences.
All right, Ryan, give us another phrase. Here is a very natural one.
All right.
Can you explain this word?
Oh, I like that phrase because sometimes we see difficult words online and feel confused.
Exactly. And instead of stopping your learning, you can simply ask for an explanation.
Let's repeat it slowly.
Can you explain this word?
Can you explain this word?
Very good.
And listeners, you can also replace word with sentence or expression.
That's right, Emma, because flexibility is very useful in English.
Ryan, can I say something funny?
Of course.
Sometimes I ask ChatGPT to explain difficult words, and then the explanation also has difficult words inside it.
Yes, that happens sometimes.
And then I feel even more confused than before.
That's why another helpful phrase is, can you explain it more simply?
Oh, wow, that is excellent.
Because you can always ask again if something feels difficult.
That's actually comforting to hear.
Yes, because learning English is not about understanding everything immediately.
It is about asking questions and continuing slowly.
Exactly. Let's repeat the phrase. Can you explain it more simply?
Can you explain it more simply?
Perfect. And I think listeners are already learning many useful expressions naturally.
I think so too, Ryan. And the best part is that these phrases are practical for daily English practice.
All right, Emma, let's continue.
Okay, phrase number 7 is, can we have a short conversation?
Oh, that sounds very natural.
Yes, because many people want speaking practice but do not know how to begin.
And this phrase creates a comfortable starting point.
Exactly.
Can ChatGPT really have conversations?
Yes, absolutely. And you can talk about simple daily topics like food, hobbies, travel, or your morning routine.
That sounds fun, actually.
It really can be fun, especially when you stop worrying about being perfect.
I think perfection is something many learners worry about too much.
I agree, because communication matters more than perfection in the beginning.
That is such an important reminder. All right, Emma, here is another useful phrase.
Go ahead.
Can you ask me easy questions in English?
Oh, I love this one.
Yes, because easy questions build confidence slowly.
Can you give some examples of easy questions?
Sure, questions like, what did you eat today? Or what is your favorite movie are great for beginners.
And simple questions help people think in English naturally.
Exactly. Let's repeat the phrase. Can you ask me easy questions?
Can you ask me easy questions?
Excellent. And Ryan, do you think speaking to AI can help shy learners? Honestly, yes, because many people feel nervous when speaking to real people at first.
That makes sense.
And practicing with AI can feel safer and less stressful in the beginning. So it becomes like a practice partner.
Exactly, like a friendly practice partner that is always available.
That actually sounds really helpful. All right, Emma, are you ready for phrase number 8?
Yes, let's continue.
Can you give me an example sentence?
Oh, this is a very important phrase.
Definitely, because examples help words feel real and understandable.
I always remember vocabulary better when I see it inside a sentence.
Same here, Emma, because context makes learning easier.
Can you show us an example?
Sure, maybe you learn the word comfortable, and then you ask for an example sentence.
And ChatGPT might say, this chair is very comfortable.
Exactly.
Simple and clear.
That is the goal. All right, Emma, what comes next? Phrase number 9 is, can you help me sound more natural?
Ooh, I really like this one.
Me too, because many learners know grammar but still feel unnatural when speaking.
Yes, sometimes textbook English sounds a little strange in real conversation.
Exactly, and natural English often feels softer and more relaxed.
That is true.
For example, instead of saying, I am very hungry at this moment, many people simply say, I'm really hungry right now.
Yes, that sounds much more natural.
And little changes like that make conversations smoother.
I think listeners will find this phrase very useful.
I hope so. Okay, Ryan, let's do one more phrase before our little break.
Sounds good.
What is phrase number 10?
Phrase number 10 is, can you repeat that differently?
Ah, that is excellent for understanding difficult explanations.
Exactly, because sometimes hearing something in a different way suddenly makes everything clear.
That happens to me all the time.
Me too, honestly.
And I think this teaches an important lesson,
Which lesson?
that it is okay not to understand something immediately.
Absolutely, Ryan, because learning takes time, patience, and repetition.
And repetition is not boring when it helps understanding grow.
Very true.
All right, everyone, we have already learned 10 useful phrases, and honestly, I think these are phrases you can start using today.
Exactly. And now we are going to continue with even more helpful phrases that can improve vocabulary, pronunciation, writing, confidence, and natural conversation skills.
Ryan, I actually tried some of these phrases recently, and honestly, it made English practice feel much more fun.
That is great to hear because learning should feel enjoyable, not heavy or stressful all the time.
All right, Ryan, let's continue with phrase number 11.
Okay, phrase number 11 is, can you teach me common daily English?
Oh, that sounds very useful because many learners want real English for normal life situations.
Exactly, because textbook English and daily English can feel very different sometimes.
Yes, textbooks often sound too formal.
Right, but daily English sounds softer, shorter, and more natural in real conversations.
Let's repeat the phrase slowly.
Can you teach me common daily English?
Can you teach me common daily English?
Excellent.
And honestly, I think this phrase can help people learn expressions that native speakers use every day.
Absolutely, and learning common English helps conversations feel more natural and comfortable.
Okay, Ryan, what is phrase number 12?
Phrase number 12 is, can you help me improve my vocabulary?
Vocabulary is such a big part of language learning.
It really is, because vocabulary gives you more ways to express your ideas clearly.
And when people know more words, they usually feel more confident speaking.
Exactly.
Can ChatGPT teach vocabulary by topic?
Yes, definitely. And that is actually a very smart way to learn.
Really?
Yes, because learning words by topic helps your brain organize information better.
Can you give some examples?
Sure, maybe you want vocabulary about cooking, travel, shopping, work, or even coffee.
Of course, coffee.
Well, our listeners know we love coffee conversations.
That is true.
And you can say something like, teach me 10 useful travel words, and then practice them naturally.
That sounds much easier than memorizing random vocabulary lists.
Exactly, because meaningful learning usually works better.
All right, Ryan, let's continue.
Phrase number 13 is, can you explain this like I'm a beginner?
Oh, wow, I love this phrase so much.
Me too, because sometimes explanations become too difficult too quickly.
Especially online.
Yes, and beginners need clear and simple explanations first.
That is very true.
And honestly, there is no shame in asking for beginner explanations.
Absolutely not, because every advanced speaker was once a beginner too.
Exactly, Emma.
Listeners, please remember that because many people feel embarrassed when learning slowly.
And learning slowly is completely okay, because steady progress is still progress.
Beautifully said, Ryan.
Thank you, Emma.
Okay, phrase number 14.
This one is very practical.
I'm ready.
Can you check my pronunciation?
Oh, pronunciation can feel difficult for many learners.
Yes, especially when English spelling and pronunciation do not always match.
English can be a little confusing sometimes.
Yes, honestly it can.
Can ChatGPT really help with pronunciation?
Yes, especially by explaining sounds, syllables, stress, and common pronunciation mistakes.
That sounds helpful.
For example, many learners say every word with equal stress, but English often has stronger and weaker sounds naturally.
Yes, rhythm is important in spoken English.
Exactly.
Let's repeat the phrase together.
Can you check my pronunciation?
Can you check my pronunciation?
Perfect.
Ryan, what was a pronunciation word that confused you when you were younger?
Honestly, the word comfortable confused me for a long time.
Really?
Yes, because many people do not pronounce every sound clearly in fast speech.
That is true.
People often say something like comfortable instead of saying every single syllable slowly.
English pronunciation is full of surprises.
It really is.
All right, phrase number 15.
Okay, phrase number 15 is, can you give me a short writing exercise?
Oh, that is wonderful for daily practice.
Definitely, because writing helps organize your thoughts in English.
And short exercises feel less stressful than long essays.
Exactly, because small practice every day can create strong habits over time.
What kind of writing exercises can people ask for?
Simple things like writing about your morning routine, your favorite food, or your weekend plans.
That sounds manageable for beginners.
Yes, and after writing, you can ask ChatGPT to correct mistakes and explain improvements.
So it becomes both practice and feedback together.
Exactly.
Ryan, I think many listeners probably feel nervous about writing.
I understand that feeling, but mistakes are a natural part of learning.
And honestly, mistakes can teach us a lot.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ryan, let's continue with phrase number 19.
Okay, phrase number 19 is, can you help me speak more confidently?
Oh, confidence again.
Yes, because many people understand English better than they speak it.
That is very common.
And confidence usually grows through practice, repetition, and small successes.
Not overnight.
Exactly, not overnight.
Can ChatGPT really help confidence grow?
Yes, because regular practice reduces fear little by little.
That makes sense.
And when learners realize they can communicate successfully, even with small mistakes, they start feeling stronger.
That is actually very encouraging.
I hope so.
All right, Ryan, let's move to phrase number 19.
Okay, phrase number 19 is, can you teach me natural English expressions?
Oh, I love natural expressions because they make conversations sound alive.
Exactly, because native speakers often use expressions instead of textbook sentences.
Like saying, I'm exhausted, instead of saying, I am very tired.
Yes, or saying no worries instead of it is okay.
Those little phrases really change the feeling of conversation.
They do, and learning them slowly can improve listening skills too.
Because movies and podcasts often use natural expressions.
Exactly.
All right, Ryan, what is phrase number 20?
Okay, phrase number 20 is, can you give me a daily English challenge?
Oh, wow, that sounds motivating.
Yes, because daily challenges create regular practice habits.
And habits are powerful.
Very powerful.
What kind of challenges can learners ask for?
Simple challenges like learning 5 new words, writing 3 sentences, or speaking for 1 minute about your day.
That actually sounds very manageable.
Yes, because small, consistent practice often works better than studying too much at once.
I think many learners forget that.
Probably, because people often think they must study for many hours every day.
But even 15 minutes can help.
Absolutely.
Ryan, can I ask you something?
Of course.
Do you think English learning should feel perfect and serious all the time?
Honestly, no, because learning also needs curiosity, fun, and relaxation.
I agree completely.
When people enjoy the process, they usually continue longer.
And consistency is more important than perfection.
Exactly.
All right, everyone, we have now reached 20 useful phrases. And honestly, these expressions can already create many hours of English practice with ChatGPT.
Yes, and the beautiful thing is that you can use these phrases anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace.
Maybe tonight after dinner.
Or tomorrow morning with coffee.
Or during a quiet moment before sleep.
Exactly, because small moments of practice can slowly transform your confidence.
And listeners, please do not compare your progress to other people because every learner moves at a different speed.
That is such an important reminder, Emma.
Learning English is not a race.
It's a journey.
A slow and meaningful journey.
And we are very happy to be part of your journey today.
All right, everyone, stay relaxed and stay with us because in the next part, we will continue with even more useful phrases for conversation practice, storytelling, vocabulary growth, and everyday communication.
Yes, and we still have many fun and practical expressions coming next, so keep listening and let's continue together very soon.